TMG.
And moving on to a wonderful event that happened this weekend with the fans.
Lovely.
It was great to see fans in the stadium in full attendance.
Of course. My guy Tielemans. One of my favourite players.
The game's gone though. If we're being honest, the rules around football is really taking the passion and the love away from the game in it. I'm not gonna, to be fair, like I still love football. I'm always gonna love football. Yeah, we're gonna have to accept the flaws that it has, and we've accepted it. VAR, not necessarily the actual virtual assistance, but the rules that come around it, like offsides not giving the advantage to forward players, even though their feet are onside and their millimeters, shoulders are millimeters offside. If it hits someone's hand and it's come off their elbow, come off their knee, and it changes trajectory, it shouldn't be a goal. It should be a drop ball and stop like that type of thing. It doesn't necessarily have to be a yellow card or you did this on purpose. But if it hit your hand, it's like in any other sport. If something that goes against what, like even it hitting the referee now and they're stopping that, that's a good addition to add to the game because that changes things. If it hits your hand accidentally, lead into a goal, fam, it should not stand. And the only reason I think it even stood and they didn't look at it long enough is because the fans were local. The fans were local.
They gave the pressure. But don't you love football for the human error? That's what makes football like
but
this.
Not when it's not supposed to be. There's not supposed to be human error with the VAR there. Like fair. The VAR is supposed to help the referees, but what it is proven this season, especially, that the officials in charge of the game, are the real problem. They're the real problem. The people in VAR, the refs, so many factors, bro. Like it's just not good enough.
But even with all of those factors, did Chelsea play well enough to win that game?
No, Leicester didn't play well enough either. It wasn't a good game necessarily. Like it was cagey, few chances. We don't really create as many chances when we have the majority of the ball and teams are like sitting behind the ball. Like we normally create chances in transition and the way we're moving off of it and quick breaks and that. But games like that, that's why we need like a clinical striker. I'm not saying that I'm still one of those people that believe in Werner in it. Like I feel like he's gonna come good.
Believe in him?
Yeah, I think he's gonna come good. I think first season jitters like.
He just looks like he's lost all his confidence. His confidence is mad.
It happens though. It happens to a lot of players. Like the only person this season you can say that's had a consistent season at Chelsea is Mount all the way through. Like other players have had patches like Christensen, Thiago Silva, Rudiger. They've all had patches from when Tuchel came. But when Lamps was in charge, we had a good first 10 games. After that, majority of the team wasn't good enough. Now he's taken us to a position where we should win something and make Champions League football. I feel like it's kind of covered over the cracks that have been there all season. Like we literally don't have a player that scored more than 6 goals in the league, and we're fourth. That is mad. Like crazy. for us to be fourth.
How many and got 6?
Yeah,
like Brandon's level with Tammy in it.
Yeah, it's crazy, and it's just like those type of things. There, we make Champions League football. I feel like aside from making 2 finals, we lose the final. Obviously, you're going to be heartbroken because you're in a final. You want to win it, but if we look from where we were when he took over, it won't necessarily be that bad. And I just think that Roman's going to have to slap a good 150 on either Kane, Haaland or Lukaku.
So, but your problem is not primarily goal scoring. It's chance creation.
We get in the right positions. We just don't. We haven't got players that have that ruthless edge in front of goal. And sometimes you need that one player like a Cavani that is just constantly banging, regardless of what's going on around him. He will just score goals. That type of player will reignite the energies of like the Greenwoods and the Rashfords. Yeah. If you're not scoring calm, I'm going to still score regardless. And that's the type of player you need. Like with the Canes and that, their teams can be terrible, but he will still get top goal scorer this season. Salah, team's terrible, still get top goal scorer because they just hungry for goals. That's what we need. And I think that and maybe like a goal scoring midfielder. Like that isn't Mount, because I don't necessarily know how they're trying to play him. Like I feel like we need a deeper player out of like Jorginho. We have Jorginho, Kovacic and Kante. They're all quality players, but their skill set isn't made for scoring goals. And I feel like that's one thing. If we added some of the positions that they get into, it would be a wrap, man.
Your pivots are not primarily supposed to be goal scorers. It's like to enable.
Yeah, but it's I hear that, but it's the positions that they get into. If they didn't get into those positions, then I understand. But there's sometimes where Jorginho gets into certain position, Kante, you're thinking either your final ball should be quality and it shouldn't be that difficult, or you should get a shot off, and that they don't do either or. So it's like you're relying on a 22-year-old Mount to do everything, to lead the press, to create the chances, to score the goals. Like, it's a lot, man.
I mean, out of your midfielders, the one guy that has the ability to produce that sort of thing would be Kovacic.
He can't shoot.
I don't know, but he's got the dribbling, he's got the technique, he's got the ability to find a pass. He should be scoring more goals.
There's a lot of guys.
That's all like Kante and Jorginho. Jorginho, they play a lot deeper. Kante is there for the tackling, the drops in the play energy. Kovacic, he literally has the ability to score goals, but for some reason, just doesn't have that streak in him. His shot is maybe tame, but I thought it was just. It's like a personality. Just you want to score goals, have that hunger. I feel it's within him. He has the ability to do it. That's like I said. Jorginho and Kante, I can let them get away with it because they're not really those type of players. But Kovacic should be that type of player. If that makes sense. It's
going to be interesting, like going into the summer, what changes we are actually going to make, because we've got a lot of players coming back as well. So it's like next season. I think next season is where we're really going to you're going to see what Tuchel is about. Like if he's done this in the amount of games that he's got, with the players that he has that was so low in confidence, he had to get his philosophy across to them. Playing every 2 games, every 2 days. Like he's done bits, man. So regardless, the Leicester situation, that's upsetting because you feel like, I guess he was the orchestra of his own downfall in a sense where he actually felt like he still doesn't have his strongest 11. Yeah. Like he's got the back 5 confirmed, but going forward, it's like, who's gonna bang today, man? Like, who's really gonna bang today? Because starting Ziyech, I'm thinking, in hindsight, maybe you should have started Pulisic. Like, in hindsight, maybe you should have brought Werner off the bench to stretch them in the latter minutes. Like, certain decisions like that. But then I get it because all of them have had inconsistent periods in the season. So it's just like you don't know who to play. So there's always gonna be that person saying, "Oh, you should have played this player," but it's
when you have so many sometimes so many chefs spoil the broth. If some guy just knew, the thing is, I thought that the revolving attackers would create like a hunger, but it's creating more like an uncertainty with all of those guys. Like they all feel like, if I do something, I'm not gonna play. Like that's what happens. The only person that's probably certain is Werner, but even he's a bit Werner, Mount, the only guys that feel like in that mixture of the 3 up top, they're the only guys that feel certain.
The only reason Werner is certain is because of the way he plays. Like regardless of whether he scores or not, that's why I like him, because he always gives 100. If he finished, he would be one of the best strikers. And that's why it's so annoying, because bro, the amount of chances, I think over 20 clear-cut chances that he could have bagged this season, bro. That's just, it's mad, bro.
His movement's elite, though. I like his movement.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
I like him more out wide. You can have him out wide and have another amazing.
I think Havertz is their best attacker, to be honest.
He's too inconsistent, though.
When I see Havertz on, though, I feel like he's the player that changes the game the most out of all of your attackers. Yeah. But he's just lacks intensity.
Yeah. He's like a hybrid Ozil. Yeah. Like he's like got that lazy energy, and sometimes when you see a player coming off the bench, you want to see that hunger, you want to see that urgency. Like when Giroud came on, you can see him like getting people up for it, and that's what you need sometimes. We lack that person in our front line, and I'm not saying that we don't have players that can do that. Like Mount can get to that. Like he's already so important, but you need that striker that you give him half a chance, he will bag it. That's the one thing Chelsea are missing. Once we get that, we're challenging for the title, man. Next season, we're challenging. If we get that striker.
We got Lukaku will still come to his own problems, though.
No, we get Lukaku.
It comes to his problems.
I promise you, it will be a Didier 2.0.
2.0.
Like it will be even better because he'll score more goals. We get in good positions. And that's the thing. That's why I'm not necessarily upset about the rumours about Tammy leaving, in it, because he scored loud, man. Yes, he scored 6 goals, but as a football player, he is good, but I don't know if he's got those, like, the fear factor. Like, I don't think defenders come up against him and they're fearing what he's going to do to them. With players like Werner, you can see he stretches them, he runs in behind. Tammy's good at playing down the line and he gets in certain good positions, but he always seems like he's like just 0.5 seconds off of what's going on, and you see him complaining, putting his hands up, and it's like, I hear it, because sometimes the deliveries aren't good enough, but at the same time, sometimes as a striker, you have to feed off scraps. Like, you have to, and if you're not doing that, then you have to do something else. There's a reason why he's not playing. It's not like he's not a good footballer. He is a good footballer, but to be at the elite level, the season that we had last year, everyone talks about last year, but you had to step up from last year. Yeah. Mount's made that step up. People were still doubting him at the beginning of this season, and he still carried on balling. And now they're saying, okay, maybe Young Player of the Year, maybe X out of the season, because he's just because it could be Mount. It could be Mount.
Foden better than Mount this
Not in the Premier League. In the Premier League,
maybe in the Premier League, you can
but that's what I'm saying. It's a Premier League award.
But yeah,
Argos Foden's had better Premier League performance.
Because Tammy hasn't really been given a sniff by Tuchel. But like you said, Mount. Because remember at the start, Mount got left off the first game.
The first game.
But Mount's made that step up, and now has become like a really top
integral.
Tammy, Mount's got intensity, which you can't, like, Mount has intensity. Mount wants to play, which other guys don't have the same intensity.
It's his IQ though. People underestimate how smart of a footballer Mount is, in it. Like, the guy knows ball.
He knows ball.
Like, he plays in multiple positions, and he can play there very well. Like, and that's the thing at that age. Even in around your 20s, your early 20s, you're supposed to be able to adapt to certain positions. A player like Tammy, he can only play in the middle.
But Tammy's body type, he's always going to be a striker. I don't want to see Tammy out wide. I don't want to see him
definitely, but you still have to have...
He's not dominant,
you still have to... If you're going to be that 9, you have to be that 9.
He's not
the
dominant,
ball can't bounce off of you.
Has he had a chance since Tuchel?
He has. He's played a few games.
Like, the game he got injured, he was like... was
it Newcastle?
Newcastle.
Yeah.
It should have been a pen anyway.
Yeah, but he played that game, and it's like those type of games that I wanted him to prove me wrong. Like, all of these players, like, you want them to prove you wrong because they're still young. But if they leave now, even the Tomori situation, like he's balling, but that might just be suited to his skill set. Like the league, I do think that he was unfortunate to not get an opportunity. But I feel like there's something behind it because Lamps played him at Derby. He was the player of the season. Came in, played him.
He wrote him off because apparently they were talking about stats about mistakes. His mistakes leading to goals.
But even at that, you can't necessarily say he's better than Christensen, Zuma, or Rudiger. He's not better than Christensen.
Christensen is good when the defender's on the ground. Yeah, Christensen, maybe one of the best. But when the ball is in the air, that guy is lost.
No, Christensen is good. He's just a confident centre back, and it's unfortunate that is that case. That's the case, but he is a quality centre back. Like, at the top of his game, bro, we didn't concede for how many games?
Like, the kind of guy.
They're similar type of player.
But does he lead? Is he a complimentary centre back or is he the leader?
Complimentary. But there's nothing wrong with that. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. And also, like, going back to the Tomori situation, if he does sign for AC, good on him. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, that means you found your place. You're still young. Could eventually come back to the Premier League. You're playing for a good team, a good European club. Champions League football, that's good. You can't, with the way Chelsea are, you can't have it all. Some of these players are not going to work out. Tammy might not work out here. He might go West Ham, Palace. Now that Hodson's gone, if Lamps goes there, if he goes Palace, he probably. But come on, let's not disrespect Lamps right now.
Lampard doesn't deserve to be Palace.
Let's not disrespect Lampard right now.
Look at Lampard's journey in football.
Yeah, let's look at his journey.
It's been mad.
It's not been mad.
Where should Lampard be then?
Lampard doesn't deserve that.
What does Gerrard deserve?
Gerrard deserves that role more than him.
But Gerrard went to the second best team in Scotland.
But Rangers weren't performing at that level.
But he still went to that team. When Lamps went to Chelsea, we wasn't great. His
expectations were lower when he went to Chelsea.
He still exceeded it though.
I don't think Lampard should be given an opportunity at someone like Palace yet. He should go back to Championship, establish himself. He didn't even win the playoff.
You don't have to win it. You don't have to win it. That doesn't show the type of.
You that he's a great manager.
It's not. You don't have to be a great manager to manage
Oh,
Palace.
good manager. Oh,
He is.
someone that
He is a good manager. You can't. You can't go to a team like Chelsea knowing everything that the team has been as a player as well. Yeah, he's just come into that role. He lost his best player, the best player in the league at that time. You lose him.
Yeah.
Then you have to bring in young G's that has never been done at Chelsea. Yeah, he's brought them in now. Now they finish in the top 4. The only reason he didn't. It didn't work out is because he had to make the step up, and the experience that he had, the team, the board didn't believe that he was able to do that. Like, it's what they said in the letter to the fans and to the club is literally what it is. We don't know if you are capable to get us out of this rut, and that's it.
So what happens when he faces the first vote at Palace? Because Palace's expectations are different. They're just expecting to stay in the league. And how do you know?
So why can't he learn? Why can't he learn from that? Though?
But he gets more time to.
I think that Chelsea and Palace are two different teams. He's been at probably each league he's been in. He's been at one of the best teams in the league. And then Palace is not a team with those resources. Like Derby,
but they've got players though. They've got players,
resources.
and it's not going to end there. Like, come on,
okay,
like,
that's true.
Chelsea are going to give the guy young G's in it. Mm-hmm. You're probably going to see players that don't necessarily make it in the summer at Chelsea go on loan to Palace if Lamps does go there, and even at that, if he doesn't go to Palace, he will go to one of the teams that either get promoted. He has proven that he can manage in the Premier League, innit? Like that's just the reality. Whether it's at the top, it might be too soon, but these young managers, you're gonna have to see them coming up one way or another.
I made my decision on some of the managers already.